You're also from my section here, and as usual, I like to change it up. I like to do something a little bit more different. From where am I looking? The camera's here, and then there's another few cameras going on right now. So I'm just gonna look here because that's where, for some reason, the middle point of it is. So if it looks like I'm just looking away from you, I'm not. I'm actually looking directly at a certain camera. That's what's happening at this moment in time. But as you know, I like to change my channel up a bit. I like to do something new just to keep the channel as fresh as possible. Every month you'll see 1 or 2 videos which is diversion from the norm, and then they will just drop in and then you'll see them. I mean, last time, the one that came out yesterday was supposed to come out Friday, but a lot happened which actually pushed it back to Sunday, but it still came out, and this one obviously is going to come out today. But this man right here is one of the best film YouTubers. Like, as in, they do film essays and they put it together and put it through. I think it's amazing, and I want to react to one of his videos because I think a lot of the points that he makes in his general videos are quite well. I haven't actually watched his video myself, but I'll just jump in every once in a while to give my own pointers. Obviously, I'm not going to show the whole video here, so please support the original release and watch the full video there. Anyways, let's get on with it.
Uses the Spider-Man mythos to get your ass in the seats and give your money to a studio that is notorious for screwing with the original film and churning out boardroom bastards that lack a voice. Everyone will tell you that Madam Web is a mess, but I want to know, how did this happen? What is Madam Web? Who is the real Agent Web? Why did...
Pretty good intro, to be fair.
Web 1. It is directed by S.J. Clarkson, and you might not know her name, but you definitely...
I actually do know who that is. She's so well established that you'd be kind of surprised how she managed to flop this movie so badly. But then again, it comes down to writing, doesn't it, more than anything else. This is S.J. Clarkson, the person who directed, I believe, a few episodes on Jessica Jones, which was incredible. All of the Netflix shows had their standout moments, except for Iron Fist, that was just terrible in general. But the others had their standout moments, even though they're actually just burying Daredevil at this point. Jessica Jones was probably the best one of those, and she directed probably the 2 episodes which were the best of that show. And she also directed a few things, but they skip my mind, but I'm guessing it's gonna say them.
Know her game. She's not new to making Marvel media. She directed the first 2 episodes of Jessica Jones, which are absolute bangers filled with wonderful, painfully truthful storytelling. She also directed the first 2 episodes of Defenders, which are probably the best 2 episodes of Defenders. She also has directed some episodes of little-known shows, you might not have heard them, man, like House, Dexter, Orange is the New Black, and fucking Succession. So hot!
See what I mean about, like, she's very, very well accomplished director who's directed incredible shows. Go watch Succession, by the way, if you watch, it's amazing. So it's Breaking Bad, Dexter, and all those shows, and Orange is the New Black, absolutely amazing shows. Go watch them if you watch them. If you did watch them and you watch Madam Web and that's the first time you heard of this director, I don't know what happened, but do not take this as her standard existence. This is like just a mess.
2. The film was shot by Mauro Fiore. Mauro Fiore served as cinematographer on many, many movies, including James Cameron's Avatar, Training...
I didn't want to interrupt him, but I knew he directed Avatar. He directed it, I mean, you know, cinematography that was done, which is why, I guess, why Madam Web's cinematography is good. It's like one of the only good things in the whole movie, to be fair. In terms of storytelling, absolutely awful, but in terms of cinematography, incredible.
Spider-Man No Way Home. But the meme is, and you can fucking quote me on this, Madam Web is shot with far more creativity and texture than the bland-looking COVID kitchen sink that was No Way Home. Would it end up in the fucking Criterion Collection? No. But
I have always really loved Marvel movies.
I mean, what % of Marvel movies have you seen?
4%. 15 minutes of one.
There you go.
Do they hire these actors? Like, what? Imagine, yeah, in Marvel, huge thing. I would love to act in Marvel. I'm not really much of an actor, but if given the opportunity, I'd learn and be as good as possible to be actually a great actor. Imagine, just for a second, just sit back and imagine you get the opportunity to act in a Marvel movie. or what you think is a Marvel movie at the time. Obviously, we know it's Sony, which is not Marvel. I think that's why she fired the whole team. But you get to act in what you believe is a Marvel movie, and you ain't even watched a single Marvel movie. Like, how's that even a thing? Like, how's that a thing that people would do? Like, shouldn't you act in something that you are passionate about? I won't do YouTube videos unless I kind of want to do the video. That's why my video style changes so constantly, because it's something new that comes up in my mind. I'm like, I want to do this now, and I want to do that, I want to do this, and it just keeps bouncing off. And that's why the ideas kind of stay fresh constantly. Just going on a tangent.
Pair this cast with this crew together in the kitchen, and you should have something more than whatever the hell came out of the oven. Because what came out of the oven is hilarious. Dude, I love these Sony movies, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'll shout it from the rooftops. Give me a t-shirt. Venom 2 is the queer-coded romantic love story that is so campy and unapologetically goofy. Morbius is so freaking stupid, with a central performance by an actual vampire who is taking it so very seriously. Craven feels like the R-rated Dog the Bounty Hunter counter. Headcanon is that the original idea behind this movie was Madam Web being forced to assemble who will later become the Spider-Women to protect an unborn Peter Parker, who will later grow up to become Andrew Garfield's take on the character. I'm not saying that plot would have been any better, but it would have made a lot more sense as to the why factor of Sony making a Madam Web movie. But when asked about why Madam Web, a Spider-Man character, does not directly relate to any other Spider-Man adaptations, a producer on the film had this to say.
We made a decision early on that the advantage in the story was to not attach it to all these other stories. I think some of the superhero fatigue that people talk about is because those movies are often not about the central character.
Which, like,
That's literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard in terms of this movie. Madam Web is not a central character. Madam Web is built to build the Spider universe or multiverse or whatever. If people don't know, Madam Web is a reason a lot of things happen in Spider-Man. And Madam Web is, have you ever watched what's the movie? Miles Morales' Spider-Man, you know, the one that came out, the cartoon version of it. I think it's Into the Spider-Verse. That's basically Madam Web's story right there, Into the Spider-Verse. Except the central character of Into the Spider-Verse would be Madam Web instead of the new person who they put into the movie. But you should actually watch that movie. That movie is amazing. It does take that storyline and kind of uses it as its own, but then again, a lot of storylines from Spider-Man were taken from Miles Morales' Spider-Man and used as their own. So I guess they're just passing it back and forth at that point.
Racking up as the credits rolled. That legend who sat in front of me kept checking his phone. I think he was Googling how this all relates to Spider-Man, and I swear I'm telling the truth. Swear on the spider god Arachne. Anyways, there's this one line, one of many, that cracked both of us up. At the end of the film, the spider teens tell Cassandra, who is freshly blind, freshly paralyzed, and still in the hospital, that Ben is enjoying being an uncle, because being an uncle is like being a fun dad with not nearly as much responsibility. To which Cassandra jokes back, that's what he thinks. Or so he thinks. I don't know. I saw the movie like an hour ago and I don't remember. The entire ending is such a bleak tragedy, played like it's a heroic, triumphant victory. Cassandra is blinded, crippled, and forced to suffer the horrific burden of seeing the fate of all that are around her. Like, can you imagine Ben Parker coming for a quick visit with little Pete? Little cute, clueless, chubby toddler Peter Parker is just trying to get a damn cookie when Cassie is hit with visions of his future. A future in which Mary and Richard tragically die, causing Peter to be an orphan, growing up without ever really knowing either of his parents, then going to live with Ben and May, only to be bit by a different kind of super spider, only for Ben to get fucking capped, only for Pete to become this vigilante out of guilt, only for him to fall in love, lose that great love, face death at every single fucking turn, and have the most depressing, stressful, and overwhelming life of all time. Hope you enjoy the cookie. Her visions ain't no...
That's just depressing. But that is truly just depressing. But what did you expect? This is a Madam Web movie. Madam Web was not even a superhero or anything like that. She was tragedy endued. I mean, the first time we see Madam Web, she's in like this mechanical wheelchair thing in her own space of a universe. Like, no one ever thought Madam Web had a really fun story. That story is tragedy. She's supposed to keep the timelines pretty much correct. I'm pretty sure I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that's the whole point. Like the whole point of her storyline, the whole point of her existence, really, which is not fun. It doesn't look fun, it doesn't sound fun at all. And to try to make it fun is amazing, but all of these actors don't even look like they even want to be there. I've noticed that every single time I watch these movies. I watch the Marvels. I forgot who the younger one was called, but she looked like she enjoyed the movies. But the other two, they looked like they just wanted to go home. They didn't want to be there. No one, like, every single one of these superhero movies, people do not look like they want to be there. You know, the last time I actually watched a movie where I saw genuine passion for a script was like last week when I watched Dune. I'm watching Dune 2 like today, I think, and I hope, and from what I'm seeing from the reviews, it's just as good, if not better, than the first Dune. But that's just a tangent. Let's go back to the video.
Gift ain't no power anybody should want. But you know, superhero music, roll credits. Let's go. Could have gone all in on how terrifying it is to have clairvoyant powers. Go all in on the idea that Cassandra knows her only friend is going to die, but that his death is what inspires his surrogate son to save so many lives. They could have done so many things that had weight, impact, power.
Yeah. I know I keep just interrupting this, but obviously as a reaction video, I have to react to it. I can't just stare blankly into it. I've seen those ones where the people just stare blankly into it for about 40 minutes straight, or 20 minutes, however long the video is. Obviously my video is nowhere close to it. The full video, again, link in the description. Go watch the full video, it's amazing. What he just said in that short speech is exactly how they should have done the character of Madam Web. They should have made her someone who, if you watch Joker, do you see how, like, in the strand, in like the line of his timeline, he's slowly starting to lose his mind, and in the end you start to think, well, I can't even trust the narrator. We don't understand what's going on because he's completely lost his mind. He's actually become the Joker at that point. They should have done the same thing to Madam Web. Someone who gets clairvoyant powers should not be so fine all the way to the end, where she just looks kind of sad, you know, crippled and blind. But the crippled and blind part should have played into the storyline as well, not something that just happens at the very end. The whole clairvoyant thing should have been her slowly losing her attachment, not just to humanity, but like he said, she knows everything that's going to happen. Her best friend is going to die in a very horrible way, like on the side of the street bleeding out. Like that's a horrible way to go. And her knowing that as a thing would have been an amazing addition to this movie. In fact, this whole movie should have just been rewritten as a psychological drama, because that would have done a lot more than whatever mess this movie turned out to be.
Well,
That try to appeal to every single person and creature on the planet while playing it safe in an ever-dying genre. I've said it before and I'll say it again, the greatest problem the Sony Spider-Verse movies have is the fact they are afraid to be anything other than superhero movies. Morbius could have been a fun, smaller budget horror film set in a world where Spider-Man exists. Instead, it was a generic superhero origin story. Venom, bless his wonderful heart, is forced into PG-13 action comedies that never break the mold. And Madam Web is operating on the idea that in order to appeal to the widest possible audience, you must play everything so safe, so corny, and so cliche, without taking a single risk. The solution isn't complicated. It's really not. It's simply focusing on storytelling and letting storytellers shout.
I'm gonna stop the video there. It's completely correct. Obviously, I understand where it comes to money. People gotta stick to what's already worked. That's how they're gonna make a lot of that money at the same time. But look at what's the newest movie that's made like $1 billion a bit. Look at Avatar 2. Avatar 2 took a decade to be made, and when it came out, that movie, for me personally, that movie was really boring parts, but they tried something different from the first movie. The first movie was them finding a new society and him kind of just becoming part of that society and then fighting off the bad guys, which is humans. The second movie it's kind of a little bit of the same. Like, he's no longer finding new societies, part of the societies, but now he has to find all these different parts of the societies that live in very different ways in order to build something, in order to fight back the humans who are growing more in power and destroying more of the world. Now, the third one is obviously he's going to put everything together and then actually go to a full-on war with humanity, which would just show more of how far someone will be willing to go in order to protect the land and how much they're willing to sacrifice. At least that's what I hope will happen, but might get the director wrong here, but James Cameron will actually be able to process that in. Anyways, Madam Web was terrible. It was a terrible movie. It wasn't even terrible in a way where it was funny, or terrible in a way where it was just horrible. It's terrible in a way where it was just generic and bad at the same time. Like, you could tell everything that was going to happen from probably the first 5 minutes of the movie. Obviously, I like Spider-Man. I like superhero movies. I love them. I love anime. I love games. I'm a full-on nerd. Like, I don't even gonna lie. And to see these movies go from something like Endgame to this mess of movies continues. I know Sony and Marvel are kind of different and everything like that, but they kind of follow the same trend, they come out the same book basically. And all these movies are generic, they're boring, most of the characters are written horribly, and for some reason no one in Hollywood no longer knows how to write women characters, which is not difficult. It's just write people with flaws, and there you go. You probably have like a character 100 times better than whatever you're thinking of. The movies are just sad to watch. They're not fun. They're just terrible. There's always just this weird, hateful message that comes out of it as well. But yeah, that's it. That's my rant of Madam Web. That's my rant of Sony and Marvel. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to download Paradox Horror Boys, Cyber Chase, Product Plan. In fact, next Monday, my book trailer actually comes out. And you know what? Here's a snippet.
Welcome to Kindriel.
Hope you enjoy that and be ready for the book trailer. Peace.